Empires rarely fall quietly. In the late 1700s, 13 small colonies stood against the greatest empire on earth. They were outnumbered, outgunned, outmatched, yet they dared to rebel, not just against taxes, but against control itself. This is the story of the American Revolution. For years, colonists lived under British rule. At first, life was tolerable. Britain protected the colonies. Trade brought profit. But colonists had no real power. Decisions were made in London by people who had never seen this land. The colonies were governed, not represented. After fighting expensive wars, Britain needed money. So it turned to the colonies. New taxes appeared. The Stamp Act, the Sugar Act, the Tea Act. Colonists paid but had no voice. Their message was clear: no taxation without representation. Britain refused to listen. Peaceful protests spread across the colonies. Boycotts hurt British merchants. Anger grew. In 1770, British soldiers fired into a crowd. 5 colonists who died. It became known as the Boston Massacre. The divide between Britain and the colonies deepened. In 1773, resistance turned bold. Colonists boarded British ships at night. They dumped tons of tea into Boston Harbor. This was not about tea. It was a message. Britain responded with punishment. Ports were closed. Rights were taken away. The colonies were pushed toward war. In April 1775, British troops marched to seize weapons. They were met by colonial militias. Shots rang out in Lexington and Concord. No one knows who fired first, but the war had begun. Farmers became soldiers. Neighbors became fighters. There was no turning back. The British Army was powerful and professional. The colonists were not. They lacked training. They lacked supplies. But they had something Britain did not: belief. They fought for homes, not empire. For freedom, not profit. Against all odds, the colonies won key battles. Victory at Saratoga changed everything. France joined the war, not out of love for freedom, but hatred for Britain. With foreign support, the tide slowly turned. The war was brutal. Families were divided. Cities burned. Thousands died. Freedom came at a heavy price. But the colonies refused to surrender. In 1781, British forces surrendered at Yorktown. 2 years later, Britain recognized American independence. The impossible had happened. A colony defeated an empire. But freedom was incomplete. Slavery remained. Native lands were still taken. Women had no rights. The revolution ended, but the struggle for true freedom had just begun. In the next episode, we will examine the document that declared independence and the contradictions hidden within its words. This is not the history you were taught. This is the history you deserve to know.